What's up everyone, and welcome back to Top 5 Central. Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 worst Pokemon in Pokemon Go that become absolutely awesome in their later evolutions. We all know that not every Pokemon is the best in Pokemon Go, but some of the weakest creatures could quickly become some of the best after they've been evolved. I'd just like to take this moment to say thank you so much for helping Top 5 Central reach over 500,000 subscribers. We've come so far in such a short amount of time, and it's all down to you guys, so thank you so much. Anyways, let's aim for 5,000 likes, but with that said, let's get right into the video. Number 5. Abra. Abra is one of the weakest and hardest to catch Pokemon in the game. It has a low capture rate, a high escape rate, and a pretty low max CP. However, if you can manage to acquire enough Abra, you'll eventually have an Alakazam on your hands. And that Psychic Spoon wielder is another beast entirely. Abra has the unique ability to sense danger by reading minds. And it's actually learned to hypnotize itself so that it could use its psychic abilities at any time it needs to. Abra goes from being this utterly useless psychic Pokemon all the way into Alakazam, which at the moment is the best psychic type in the game until Mew or Mewtwo gets added in. Alakazam is an insanely good attacker Pokemon for gym, so for battling, you definitely want to start saving up your Abra candy. Number 4. Nidoran. The male version of Nidoran never becomes quite as powerful as its female counterpart, but the increase in strength it gets through its evolutions is much more impressive. As a first stage Pokemon, Nidoran can only reach 843 CP, which makes it the 23rd weakest Pokemon in the game. By the time it becomes a Nidoking, however, it reaches a mighty 2,475 CP, which is only 10 less than the Nidoqueen. Nidoran is a pretty terrible Pokemon, but that pretty much goes for the majority of all first evolution Pokemon. The Nidoran species was actually the first Pokemon to feature gender differences in the Pokemon franchise. Genders were officially added to the game in Generation 2, but the two Nidorans were first featured in Gen 1. I feel like the transformation between Nidoran being like this tiny innocent little rabbit to like this giant rhino on steroids is the reason it really needs to take number 4. Number 3. Dratini. Dratini is by no means a terrible first stage Pokemon. It reaches a pretty high 983 CP, but that's still pretty dang useless in the grand scheme of things. But fear not, because if you catch enough Dratini, you're going to be a very happy person indeed. Eventually, a Dratini will evolve into the big bad dragon himself, Dragonite. Dragonite is the second strongest Pokemon in the game, reaching a crazy max CP of 3,500. Dratini is pretty much like a tiny little snake, but to go from that all the way to like this huge dragon is pretty impressive. At the moment, Dragonite is the best Pokemon in the game since Mewtwo isn't in yet, so keep saving up your Dratini candy for it. Number 2. Eevee. Eevee is a pretty cute and useless Pokemon. If you were to use it without evolving, you would be left with a Pokemon that has a max CP of only around 1,077. However, Eevee is in fact one of the best and most versatile Pokemon in the game. Eevee comes with the unique ability of being able to evolve into 3 different Pokemon, which is Jolteon, Flareon, or the 11th strongest Pokemon in the game, Vaporeon. It doesn't end there when it comes to Eevee's usefulness. As future generations of Pokemon are released, the number of Pokemon that Eevee can evolve into will grow and grow. That means when Generation 2 is released, Eevee will also be able to evolve into Espeon and Umbreon if you watched our video the other day. Both of those Pokemon are likely to be very strong. This is all because of Eevee's irregularly shaped genetic structure that allows it to adapt to almost any environment, and Eevee will always evolve to better suit its surroundings in the Pokemon world. For the majority of Pokemon trainers, you'll see some sort of evolution as their top Pokemon. It typically is Vaporeon though, because like I always tell you guys, Vaporeon is the best of the 3 right now. Number 1. Magikarp. There's not much we could say about Magikarp's uselessness that we haven't said already. It has a terrible max CP, the worst in the game actually. You can also include that it has a terrible moveset as well. But don't count good old Magikarp out of the game just yet. If you commit to the task of gathering 400 Magikarp candies, which is roughly about 300 Magikarp in total, you'll be rewarded with one of the most majestic and imposing Pokemon in any of the Pokemon games, which is Gyarados. Gyarados is a water and flying type Pokemon that absolutely destroys any sort of fire, ground, and rock type Pokemon. I just find it hilarious that you have like this really dumb looking red fish that only has the ability to splash. But once it's evolved, it becomes this huge intimidating serpent dragon thing that's absolutely badass. So that's our list of the top 5 worst Pokemon turned amazing. Do you have an idea for a future top 5 or top 10? Let us know by using our form in the description and we might just make a video on it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Either way, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.